What's up, everybody? Welcome back to 1-6 Fix for another origin story. This is episode 4 now, and Gigi, we're really cooking.
Yeah, I was gonna say today is the first time we didn't fight, and you were about to ruin that in
We were
2 seconds
so
ago.
close, though. We were like inches away
It
from
was
fighting,
close.
but
It was
luckily,
close.
luckily, our special guest today. So we've got Cuervo and Kat. And Cuervo, how would you describe yourself in the YouTube community?
So, thanks. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, Marco and Gigi. It's really cool to just be part of your streams and be part of this YouTube world. So speaking, and I'd like to introduce my beautiful wife, Catherine.
Hey,
Um,
Kat, thank you both for coming
so
on today. By the way,
it's exciting. I think.
Sorry, the chat just makes me crack up. Hi,
Oh,
sweet angel.
the chat is always the best part of these, right?
see, and that's a perfect segue because usually I'm just part of the chat. I'm just there saying hi to people. This all started because of the pandemic. To be honest, I never really went online to like, not that this is bad, like, to make friends or anything. I was just never part of that community, right? It was always just I was busy here, going out, doing this, doing that. But with the pandemic, you're just kind of stuck inside. So I really turned to YouTube to like just watch content as it related to figures. But then, really just started with collecting weekly, right? With those watching those guys. So they're so hilarious on After Dark, right? They're just there was like they seemed like it's just a like good group of friends who were just being honest with each other and having a good time. And I would just kind of start chatting there, saying hello, what's up, and then it just kind of evolved, right? Where I became a Patreon member, a
Okay,
Patreoning, and
that's how
then
they get
just
you.
meeting all these. It's how they get you, man. It's like they hook you. Um, and I would tell Kat, like, hey, I met these, cool people on YouTube and they're really funny. They talk about figures. She's like, it's good that you have someone to talk to about that stuff. She's like, stop
Right.
bothering me.
Yes.
So you can stop talking to me about it.
Yeah, she's like, oh, that's another Batman. Okay, cool. How's that different? But, then I just started with the chats, and I think the first stream I was ever on was a Bricks and Brews because I love Lego. And it just kind of went from there, where it just Bricks and Brews, and then I was on unboxing. I unboxed my Mandalorian helmet, and I was wearing actually this shirt, the Mandalorian one.
Was that
So
your first unboxing you did?
I think that was my first unboxing. I unboxed the
Wow.
helmet, like
Okay,
nice and
you were like a
easy.
natural.
I was very stressed. I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Although I have always fancied myself a Mexican soap opera star, like Maria,
Yeah,
soy tu
you got
padre.
you got that vibe to you 100%.
Uh,
Oh
you know,
man.
what was that show that we really like with
Oh, Jane the Virgin.
Jane the Virgin?
Oh
You guys know
Oh,
Jaime
yes.
Gigi's big
Camil?
into that.
Yes. I had to
I
explain to Marco
love
who
that
that
guy.
was.
Oh, he is
Oh, man.
awesome in that. He is who I aspire to be when I'm
Uh,
older. Like have that look about him, right? Has that like
does he have a little
nice
Yes.
salt
like
and pepper? Or?
Hmm.
I love that. If I could actually grow a beard, that's what I'd want.
There you
I
go.
actually met him, Gigi, at a LAFC game here when they were. I don't know who they
Oh
were
wow.
playing, but my boss got us tickets to like a VIP zone, and he was there, and everyone was geeking out about the players. I was like, oh my God, it's Jaime Camil. Look at that guy, and I went and took a
Everyone's like,
picture with
who?
him, and everyone was like, you have all the soccer players, like they're just hanging out in the VIP lounge, right? But I go and take a picture with Jaime Camil because he's a cool
Everybody's like,
guy.
"Oh, it's okay. That's a steal."
I know,
Oh
I
my
said Theo
gosh.
about that. Um,
That's awesome.
so to answer your question, Marco, yeah, that's just kind of how I started, just going through chats and then, just started getting on streams and the pose wars is really fun because
Unless you
that
drop a
just,
figure.
yeah, unless you do what you did. I feel so bad for you, dude. It's like, oh, that's my
That's what I
biggest
get.
fear. That's why I always put him down, like until I'm ready to go. And
To
then,
pro
just
move.
now I'm here on your stream. So it's kind of crazy how that's happened. But I found it very therapeutic to just be able to chat to people that kind of speak the same language and even know more, like way more than I do. And just to listen and hear them just kind of shoot the ass. It's really fun.
Absolutely. Well, no,
For
thank you
me,
for.
it's therapeutic, so I can just troll. Cat trolling the chat is the funniest thing.
That's
Like,
your new hobby.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
Man,
so
I
I'm
try.
gonna.
I'm just like, I'm too stressed out because then when comes time to vote, I'm like, did I miss the Google form link?
Yeah,
Like, where did it go? I
yeah.
need to go back and look for it.
Exactly.
I'm just like, did I get that right?
Oh my gosh.
That's the right person.
And he's like, "Do you vote for me?"
See, Kat, you're so supportive though. Gigi was over there not voting for me. She was texting me like, "Sorry, Cuervo did better this round. I'm gonna vote for him." I was like, "What the heck? Come on, he's got to." She wasn't wrong, but so I'm gonna address the chat really quick, and then
Yeah,
Kat,
of
the
course.
first question's coming to you. So we're so let's see who we've got in here. So we've got Tukathri, thank you for joining. We've got Ben Thomas. Ben, thank you so much for joining. We have Alberto. Thank you.
Oh,
very
that's
much.
not my brother.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We got to get him on next time, too. We've got the sweet angel, Danny Lee. Danny, thank you so much for joining. And let's see who else we have. Mario. So I guess this is still in the works, but I think, Cuervo, Mario, myself might be meeting up at Disneyland, sometime next month.
Yeah.
So really looking forward to that.
Really excited about that.
So let's see. Mario, thank you so much for joining. We have H Green. Hey, everyone. Hey, thank you so much for joining. And then we've got, let's see, KG Collector. KG, what's going on? Looking forward to streaming with you later today, talking some Batman, which we will get into a little bit here. So let's see. And I think we've got, how do we pronounce that name?
Saya Dream?
See a dream?
See, here you go. I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining. All right. So Kat, as I promised, the first question coming to you. When you both met, was Cuervo a collector? Was he into hot toys? And if so, how did you feel about it? And if not, how have you felt about it kind of evolve?
When we first met, it wasn't to this extent, for sure. But definitely, I spied a fellow geek from a mile away. So, I mean, one of the first times we hung out solo by ourselves was I invited him to Star Wars in concert at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
Because I found a really good deal and I needed to get tickets, and I'm like, who the heck would go with me Star Wars in concert at the Hollywood Bowl? Jose would.
She was calling me at midnight, booty calling me. I was like, damn,
wow,
this girl
yeah.
better. She's all about this. I was like, all right, I feel that.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, why not? I'll give her a shot. Yeah, I'll go for it.
Definitely our version of a booty call.
It's like Star Wars booty call.
That's love right there.
Marriage
I love that.
material, for sure.
To be honest, when she asked me that, I was like, who the hell else would ask to go to a Star Wars concert, Hollywood Bowl? To be, that serious, I was like, man, she's a cool girl. We had hung out as friends and, done things with the group. But after that, I was like, oh, I need to start hanging out with her more. And
got a lot of points on that one. That's right. Smart move, Cuervo. You were locked in.
But so he didn't really get into it, I would say, until after we started dating and got married. And I remember when he moved in, we were like, well, there's what we're going to do with the second bedroom. Oh, well, I'm going to get these cases, and then I'll have to have this. And I was just like, yeah, of course.
Not what I envisioned.
Like, what do you think about having them, in the house? I was like, I think it'd be so great if you had your own space, so you can really design how you want it. And also, I just don't want all these little people staring at me all the time.
It's pretty intense.
That's just kind of a lot for my mental health. So, so he really started once we got more serious. And I've just always seen it as similar to how Gina and Marco were talking about how he would nerd out over architectural details or see design details. It's just really endearing. It's just his whole face, his whole being lights up, and so it's really sweet. When he gets really excited about a figure that he got, or joining a stream or something, it just makes me happy that he's so happy. But keep it in the space.
Here's the difference
She's really
between you and
supportive.
Gigi, though. Yeah, that sounds beautiful, and like I love that. So you love to see him get excited. Gigi will tell me, "Calm the fuck down. You're getting overly excited over this."
I
I'm like,
love that.
what? Like, can I
Today,
not be happy? What
She's
the
like,
okay,
fuck?
cálmate,
so
güey, cálmate.
Yeah, right.
yes, like be
Exactly.
cool. Like
Oh,
today, for example, I said we have to WALK pancake before we leave because she'll be whiling out, and now we have to like come in and out of the room. And normally we don't take phones because it's kind of our time together. But he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna check my phone to see if like Cuervo is like messaging me."
it's a
Just
standard thing. He's
relax.
going to be on it.
We're gonna be gone for
It was
20
just
minutes.
professional courtesy to be there to answer our special guest
I'm
I
just
questions.
like,
appreciate
you
the
gotta
professional
chill.
courtesy.
But yeah, she tears me down when I'm getting hyped up. Kat, do you have a sister by chance? Just asking for uh, so,
I want to be that. I aspire to be that cat, but it's
so,
just
Look,
oh boy.
I won't lie. There are plenty of times when he's talking, especially now, because I'm gonna blame you guys and everyone else in the chat for getting him re-hooked onto collecting comic books again. Because he's telling me,
Yeah.
like, I went to the comic store and I found this, and I managed to track down this on eBay. It's like the first one here, so, and I just like literally, I'm like, it's like in the Peanuts where the teacher circles like,
That's when you
He's
say
like,
message Marco about that one. Right? No, but it's so cool to have that outlet to to share the common connections with people that you wouldn't find in your everyday life, and we have them here in the community, and it's really really awesome. So go ahead,
Marco,
Cuervo.
going back to your original question about if I had started collecting. So I actually had started collecting, but not like this before we even met. But it's just, I used to live in an apartment and so I didn't have really that much room. And my mom has a house, so whatever I had, a couple things here and there. I would just keep it at her house and be like,
What did you
because I
have? Were
had
they
my
Hot
old
Toys
room.
or
It was hot toys and like, smaller stuff like Marvel Legends, Cos
okay?
Babies, Legos, like small stuff. And, I would just kind of keep it there in storage. But then, there's more room here. So it's like, oh, I can display stuff. I was like, oh, that works out well. But I started collecting back in the
many
day.
trips to IKEA.
Many IKEA
Yes,
trips.
right.
Yeah.
It's our best
But
friend.
literally Marco was like, "Do you need anything from IKEA on Monday?" And I'm like, "No."
She's like, "Why are
What
you
do
going?"
Why are you going?
Was showing her my design ideas, and she's like just rolling her eyes. But so Cuervo, so the collecting kind of exploded when you guys moved into this new space. Is that how it really
it's
happened?
the thing. It's like how things kind of just naturally grow to their maximum limitations sometimes. So when I had little room, I just didn't buy that stuff. Plus, back I started collecting in like when the DX. What was that Batman from the Dark Knight Rises DX12? Is
I
that
think it was the Joker's 11, right? So maybe Batman's 12.
Yeah. So Batman is 12. So what was that? 2012, right? So back then I saw that. I was like, oh, that's a really cool piece. I got that. But then I didn't really look at other stuff. I was just like, oh, I like Batman, and I bought that. And I was just like working and out of college, so I was doing a bunch of other stuff. And I really go into. I lost track of comics for a little bit,
Hmm.
lost track of all that stuff. But then I kind of came back to it, and I started rediscovering more Hot Toys. But yeah, that Dark Knight DX12 was my first one, and it's actually up here. This guy right there.
Oh yeah, I see. It looks
Um,
beautiful right there.
it looks, Marco, I got to get that lighting that you have because it looks fine here when I'm just hanging out in my space, but I realize like when I'm on stream, the lights so make such a big difference. It just adds to it. It's just, finding the time to do it.
Absolutely, yeah. Even the most simple
Yeah.
fixes, yeah, it's tough too. And so I guess
I'm
like
just
that's a
happy to
perfect.
have time to open a figure display and mess around with it and put it like in the shelf because like I gotta go do this, I gotta go do that. It's just dad stuff.
Gosh, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
We don't even have kids, and I have a hard time finding. We've had two things, sitting on the ground that I've wanted to unbox for a few weeks now, but it's just finding the time. So I think that's a perfect segue. And so this is a question for both of you. How do you find the time to balance watching Hot Toys YouTube, collecting, reading about it? Like how do you find that balance?
Well, I know you were really interested in this question, so you want to go first?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not doing the collecting and stuff, but Yeah, we're just lucky we have support. You know, we have
Mm-hmm.
family nearby. So, you know, the fact that grandma can take one of the kids one weekend, everybody feels like a vacation.
Absolutely, that's
And we
huge.
try to carve
Which
out
is what
that.
happened this weekend, right? We're able to take our eldest over to Kat's parents' house, and they're watching her. So we only have to watch one kid, which is a world of difference, having to watch one versus two.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't know sometimes how he finds the time. Like literally, I think it happens late at night, kind of like squirreled away in his cave because in the next morning I'll like come down because we walk through here. This is how we exit the
Mm-hmm.
house usually, and the whole display would be totally different. It's like, did elves come in here? Like, when did this
Got to keep
happen?
the
You
display
know,
fresh.
just like
Yeah,
there's like holiday themes, you know. So it's very
I love themes. I love, just rotating the display to what I'm into at the moment. So right now I'm into Batman. So like
Hmm.
Batman is on my top shelf stuff. I have like another little low shelf over there where it's like Lego Batman and stuff like that. During the holidays, I put out my, Christmas Legos. I just love themes. I'm really into that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm a
it's
little
that
It's just
strange.
design sense,
we
though,
don't
right?
find time. Yes,
I
yes.
just love that, I have some shelves that are a little less crowded, like kind of like the way you have, Marco, where I have one or two things displayed over here. Like my Gensakai that I unboxed the other
Oh, that
day.
one's
That
beautiful.
it's so like okay, I have a couple of those shelves. There's like one per. Some are a little
Hmm.
more crowded, but that's because like I like to have the clones together. So like I put those together.
And it looks great. Like
Um,
your display isn't overcrowded. Like it's definitely like the perfect, mixture.
See, like this zone here is like, oh, these are where I have a little more breathing room. Some others that are in front of me are a little more crowded. But when you asked the question about finding time to do this,
Hmm.
before when we were single, it was easy to just find time. You just find, find time here and
You
there.
had
But
time.
but now, Shikat's right. A lot of it happens at night or during the weekend if they're napping. Maybe I'll come down and tool around for a little bit. But you have to be. I've learned to be careful about how much time I spend at night because if I'm going to bed late, which sometimes I do, and it's been a point of contention to be honest. Like, oh, I'm going to bed late, but I got my display right and I got to pose and stuff. But then the kids wake up when they wake up at 6 in the morning, and I'm just like I
You got no
can't.
choice at that point.
Zombie.
I'm a zombie, and I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired the whole day, and I'm gonna nap when they nap, which is fine. But like, sometimes you just gotta do stuff. Like, oh, you gotta do laundry. This needs fixing. Gotta go store, do this, do that. And then if I'm just zombing out, I'm not helpful, right? It's like,
Come on.
you gotta get going. You gotta make dinner.
Absolutely.
You gotta do
Pero
this.
anoche, pero anoche.
Right.
But
So-
anoche means but last night.
right. And I guess that's a tough part, right? There's always trade-offs, right? Like you found a system. Maybe you could still a little bit on the back end, but there's
Yeah, it's like
trade-offs on the
you
front
gotta go
end.
too far this way. You gotta go too far that way. You have to find a good balance, just like with anything, right? And
Absolutely.
like you were talking, Gigi, about the phone, and we made this rule as well to for the most part when it's time for dinner, it's like no phones. Like it's us, our time with the kids because we want the kids to see us having dinner together. It was it was more manageable when there was just one kid to like maybe one parent watch, but now that it's two, you really have to have both, especially when
Oh
one
gosh.
is 9, 10 months. Like choking hazards are with every bite is a
Puppy.
joke, right? So
So,
you know you have to just like okay, no phones for anything, no checking work email as much as I can, um,
Mhm.
but definitely no. Oh, having the streaming on and I'm looking. So I was doing that for a little bit. She was like, "Hey, what's going on?" Like sometimes I have like FOMO. I'm like, I want to
Yeah.
comment. I want to, because I like that. Like, oh, I like when they laugh at my comments, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like, oh, I like when they react to it.
Yeah.
It's
You
like
want
this
to be in
instant
there, yeah.
gratification that we live by.
Exactly.
It's like,
No, I think
I
you
don't
and I
need
are
to.
very active in the comments, and you're right. Like it's
Exactly.
so easy to have a stream on in the background commenting, and that our attention is so
And then
divided
the
when it comes.
chats. I literally will like the chat, like text messaging or whatever it is. And that was the thing. It was the same thing. He was walking, and all of a sudden he stops walking, like in the middle of the room. And I'm like, hey, like what's going on? Like literally, we're trying to, GO, and he's like literally texting, cracking up, and I'm like, bro, we got shit to do. Literally mid hallway, you stopped, and he's just texting, like cackling, and I was just like, okay.
I didn't want to text and walk. You know, I was being responsible. It's really quickly. I'm going to address the I'm going to address the chat, and then Cuervo, we have a question for. Actually, the next one is for Kat again, but Jedi Knights Watch. Thank you so much for joining. Had an awesome time on your stream the other day too. We got to get you on here really soon. So Big Dog Pound, thank you for coming by. Who is Mike Jones? He can't stay, but popping in to say what's up. Thank you for popping in. Let's see who else we've got. Riley Reviews. Riley, what's going on? Hey, great stream the other night. The Wonder Twins, he and KG and some of their friends are really killing
they started doing something together. It's good to see that. They work well together.
Love to see the next generation and us being bad influences on them. Y'all starting too young for this expensive hobby. And let's see, what was Takathru was giving a comment to my display. Thank you so much, Tuk. Or you want to hear Gigi? You do it.
No, your brother said, "How much for that Batman?"
you can't afford it.
Sorry. He's actually promised it to me already. So let's see. There's a question about your Billy bookcases, or if they were Billy bookcases behind you.
Yeah, those are Billy bookcases in white with the more lighted glass door. And a little trick that I do, because again, I'm a little, like we were talking pre-show, Gigi, I'm very particular about things. I have this weather strip foam that I usually use for windows or for doors to keep, wind and rain out. I use that in the door. I don't know if you can see it, but in between, there's like a little piece of foam, so smart. Dust doesn't get in. So I like weather strip all around most sides, so there can still be some breathing, but I don't want dust to get in there because then I hate dusting. I don't like that.
Cuervo,
so it keeps them clean.
Are you handy? Are you pretty handy or not really?
Yeah, I mean, I can't do like major plumbing, right? Okay. Like by myself, but I fix stuff. Like if the thing gets clogged, I'll snake it. But when it's too bad, it's like too tough. Like I have to go in.
Because Kat, the reason I asked that is because Marco is not handy at all. But talk about putting these bookcases together. I've never seen him move quick enough.
She's like, oh, you went to IKEA and assembled everying all in 2 days? I mean? Where was that for other stuff?
Where's that energy for other things?
Yes.
But some of that is like same issue here where I'm like, I want this done. I'm going to get it done quick. I'm going to get on it. But there are some things that she's like, that thing we talked about a month ago? Where's the quickness on that?
The dresser for our daughter's room.
No, that one was quick.
I'll take exception to that.
I love building things, like putting together IKEA furniture. Like when people are like, "Oh, I need help putting my IKEA furniture together," I was like, "Oh, I'll help," because I love putting stuff together, figuring it out.
Cuervo, tell me if you're like this too, but I'm like very particular like you, obviously. So like my skill set doesn't always match the level of like perfection that I need it to. So I'm like, I'm anxious to do it because I want to put it together. I want my display to look clean, but it's got to be perfect. So I'm almost like, man, I almost want to hire someone to make sure it is perfect. But when it comes to IKEA stuff, that's easy. I could do that all day.
The IKEA stuff is pretty straightforward. Like if I was going to do some custom cabinetry, like, as we look ahead to our future house, like I have plans for like my room. Like hopefully I have a room. I have a room where I can do some built-in stuff. Like, I see stuff like, like what you have or like what Ben has. I think yours, you have that TV in the low cabinet with stuff on the side. Like I love that kind of look. I was like, that's what I would like to do, but have it built-in look. And it just has glass doors on it that are seamless. So I have like this sketchbook of ideas. Yeah, kind of like when I see something cool on the streams or online, I'm like, I could incorporate that into my room. So it's like the ideas are always changing. But I could hire someone.
Last week we had 1/6 Figure Focus, and his partner Megan was talking about. It was his vision board, right? Like you go on Pinterest and putting all these ideas, and that's the type of stuff that we.
I remember him saying that. It's just how it works for a lot of things that we do. For like when we do the kids' birthday parties, or we just like go on Pinterest and like, okay, I like this idea, but let's modify it to our needs. And I love doing that. Kat, she's even way better than I am. Like,
oh, really? Okay, so that's up your alley, Kat.
That's her
I
thing.
like design.
She
Yeah.
loves designing stuff.
Um,
So
so
do you?
it's funny because we definitely talked about, oh, if one day we do move into a bigger house, what are we thinking, and etc. And I have a feeling that in his head, he's already had his room completely mapped out, plotted, like everything, interior design, all of it. And sort of like, if you have to imagine that as a blueprint, everything else is just sort of blank. It's like, I guess the kids are going to sleep somewhere. But my room!
Right.
You can imagine like the shading and the lights, I'm just like,
You've only got so much
and where
energy to
were
put
we
into
going?
this.
But the kids' room is easy. It's like two beds or a bed and a
See.
crib and a
Priorities.
dresser, a bookcase.
No, but you're right. Yeah, there's certain things that involve a little bit more thought than others. But so Kat, do you get any say on the display? Obviously, you both have a little bit of design sense. Like, do you contribute at all to it?
Yeah, actually, I mean, usually he just kind of does what he wants, but occasionally he will ask for my opinion. He's like, hey, what do you think if I put this here, if I shift that there? Or even when he was building out the cabinets and displays, like, so I'm thinking this, and like, this will be a set here and there, and what are your thoughts? So I weighed in here and there. I sort of like, I think that'll be too busy, or I think actually should be there. Like, if anything, unfortunately, we're not in a really huge space right now, then obviously we've been crowded out because of the kids. They're taking over. So this is really also our laundry room. But I was the one who's telling him, like, you should really actually try to like free up as much as possible. Maybe you can put like cool art on the walls,
Like you do.
prints and things like that. So yeah. So if anything, I saw this room as a little bit different with a bit more art up there.
And I want to display the art. And I know why you brought up the art.
That's not why I brought up the art.
Tell us, Kat.
Really,
Tell us.
So Will
So,
Foxification says,
this is-
love these couples therapy episodes.
Will
Yes.
Foxification. I love this guy.
Thanks for joining, Will. Go ahead,
So
Cuervo, sorry.
go ahead and tell him. I want you to tell the story of the Batman print from your point of view, from the erroneous point of view, and then I will tell you my
Kat,
correct.
let those gloves come on. Like, come on, give it to us. That's what we're here for.
Go ahead.
So, when we first started dating, obviously one of the first things you learn about Jose Cuervo is that he loves Batman. Like, that is just inescapable to know. And so I think, I don't remember how long we've been dating, like maybe a year or something. It was
early on.
It was really early on. I got him what I thought was a really nice print that I found online. It's like it shows basically like half Batman and then half Bruce Wayne.
Oh, awesome.
Like
You know what? I can
graphic
get it real
style.
quick while you tell the story. Is that okay, Mark? If I just grab it?
Yeah,
and show it?
please do.
Well, you finish.
Someone might as well see it.
Oh my god!
There you go. Oh no! All right. Oh, so hold on, Kat. Can you hear us okay? Sorry, I think we lost a little bit of the audio when Cuervo went away. So that's all right. We'll do it live. In the meantime, I will say this is so beautiful because I think we have a lot of those stories where Gigi would like think maybe something that I would like, and I don't know exactly where you're gonna go with this, but like I'm very, very particular. So at a certain point, she just like stops trying to like predict what I may like. Like, that's just your thing. Let's see. Tukathri's saying lost audio. That's all right, Tukathri.
Oh, sorry about that. And
No, all good, man.
So,
We're, like I mentioned,
I'll
we're
just take
very
it.
we're very casual when
So
it comes to
Jake,
this
my
stuff,
fault. That's
but-
my bad. Oh, go ahead.
No, not at all.
No.
Hey, Cuervo, all of our streams, the jankier the better for us. We're low tech, low fi. So
Can you guys hear it okay now?
Yeah, we can hear it perfect. Go ahead, Kat. Say
I'll
what you were
let you
saying.
finish.
Okay, so at the time he was apartment living with a roommate. He didn't have anything displayed, right? So I got him that print. He was like, "Oh, this is so awesome!" And then it got put away into his closet. And over some time, I was like, "Where's that print I got you?
Where's that gonna go?"
I haven't found a place for it.
So special.
Yeah.
It has to be
I was like,
perfect.
Okay. So then we move in together, and now this is like 3-4 years into it. And he starts to set up his room, right? Like his room with like the quesos, and I was like, so, oh my god, I almost forgot about that print. And I was like, oh yeah, just like hadn't found the right place for it yet. And I was like, okay. So together, how long now? 10.5 years.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, okay.
Wow.
You guys are just about on the same timeline as us.
I know
I
it's
don't know where it
it's
is.
there. I just didn't want to take up too long because I know that you lost audio,
That's
so I don't
right.
want to be too unprofessional.
Sure,
But here's,
sure.
I did put it up. Because I rotate my display, I put it up when I had another Batman theme round, and it was up on that shelf. Remember, and then two Batmans on the other side.
No,
So
I don't remember.
whatever, you remember that. It was there. I promise.
Oh my gosh.
And so, because I don't have too much wall space, it's almost like I don't want to commit to anything,
Yeah.
but I will start to kind of maybe make room for them because I love prints.
Mhm.
Just like I like comics and,
But you
the
see,
graphic.
you did. You committed to it being in storage purgatory forever. That's what you committed to.
And Kat, now would be the
It'll,
best time because it's all about Batman right now, right? So what a
True.
it
perfect
is.
time to bring it out.
It's going to go there when I, clear up that space right there.
So
It's
so
going to
to,
go
to
there and two
defend my
Batmans.
boy to defend my boy Cuervo though, I've got, a few prints that have been on the ground like collecting dust. And I think it's like always like you have a vision in your mind and it's never quite complete and you're always like trying to find the perfect spot for things. So I can totally relate to this where like I have some that I spent some fair amount of money on. They're like framed and they're just sitting there because it's like I think where I want it to go, but haven't found the perfect spot yet.
I totally feel you, Marco, but I'm totally with Gigi and her eyebrows right now.
Oh man. We're cooked, Cuervo.
I have other prints too but you know what? It's not like I put up other prints and not yours. I just haven't put up any prints. So, because I can't commit to the look just quite yet. Because
Yeah.
I keep on thinking, oh, soon, another house, soon. And then soon has turned into a little bit longer than expected, just because of kids, and
Of course.
pandemic and all that
And
stuff.
send it off to them to college.
It's gonna be mint when they go to college. It's gonna be so crispy.
There you go.
Um,
So Danny's agreeing with us as well. He said it's all about the vision.
yeah,
You
see,
got that
thanks,
vision
Dan.
in your mind. So, so I think we're talking about. I think this is a good segue actually. So we talked about the time budgeting and like the compromise. Can we talk about the actual like monetary value and how you guys budget, or maybe Cuervo, it's just a you thing, but like how do you find room in the budget for the collecting, which is obviously hot toys, but has evolved to prints and to comic books and statues. Those are all things that I'm looking at now too. So yeah, how do you make it work?
Oh, Gigi, I know she side-eyed him because of the statues.
Kill him.
Is this something that you may need to talk about? The statues. So for me, before when I used to buy a lot less, it was just, oh, I buy it, I have some extra cash. It's not a big deal. But during the pandemic, because we weren't really doing anything, we were just here, no vacations, no going out, um, no buying clothes. So the other thing about me is that I know you and I have talked about this, Marco. I really love clothes and shoes.
Hmm.
And so I would buy clothes and shoes, for work, for going out. I just, I like certain looks, and I don't mind spending money on clothes.
You used to have a display for his shoes.
Yeah, I used
Oh
to.
my god.
It wasn't like a full-on display. It was like a cabinet where I'd have the shoes, and now actually they've moved into the garage with doors so they don't get dusty.
Sure, of course.
So I don't want to get, but the Jordans stay in their boxes. I know, Mark, you have some.
Exactly right. um, so do the Jordans go side by side with the Hot Toys boxes though, or?
Well, the Hot Toys boxes I don't have here with me, and the Jordans are just in there, but they're safe, they're protected.
Okay, there you
But
go.
I wasn't buying any of that stuff anymore because
Yeah.
I wasn't going out. I wasn't dressing up for work, so it was like I had all this expendable income. I mean, we're saving because we're saving for a house and whatnot, but there's always a certain percentage, like we agreed more or less we can spend on ourselves. So for a little bit, I was like, "Oh, cool! I'm not spending on anything else. I can buy stuff." I was like, "Oh, I can get back into this, get back into
Can I
that."
ask a follow-up question, Cuervo? When you say
Yeah,
certain percentage, is it like a set percentage or just kind of an agreed upon? Like if there's money
agreed
left
upon.
over, then okay, okay.
Yeah, and it got to a point where I was like, I really need to keep myself accountable. So I started like an Excel file. It's like on Google Docs. Like, okay, if I'm spending this and this, I can't spend any more for this pay period, right? So it's like, okay, I can't buy anything else this pay period. I have to spend it next one.
Or even good too about identifying. It's like, I guess I need to sell something
Yeah,
in order
I
to get
hate
this
selling
money.
stuff just because
Yeah.
it's a hassle to like deal with people. It's, I don't like shipping these things because they're
Yeah.
pricey to ship. And then, they could claim like, oh, it got damaged. I'm like, I'm just trying to be honest and fair, but if you're trying to play me, then I don't like that.
Yeah. It's almost not worth it
But
at a
I've
certain
had to
point.
sell. Yeah, I've sold some things. Or like even, for example, this past month, got really back into comics again, right? So I spent a certain amount. I was like, you know what? There was that Stormtrooper I wanted to get, but I have a bunch of other Stormtroopers. I'm gonna have to cancel that one because I
Hmm.
don't really need it, and I spend money on comics. So then, like, put the kibosh on that. There are some months it's like, oh crap, I have found a couple good deals on a couple of things, so maybe I went over. So then it spills over to the next like budget period. So then the next budget period I have to be light. And that Excel file, she got me into Excel files. She loves
Excel
Google
The
files are
Docs.
the
rush.
best. They're so
The
beautiful to
rush,
put together.
and you know what? Because we like being organized, um, it helps. Like, oh, okay, I can see everything that I want for the next year or two. It's like, okay, I can start axing stuff out. And I think even Will on his channel talked about this Excel file.
Hmm.
And he started cutting pre-orders. And then I stopped doing pre-orders, right? Because I was like, what's the
Yeah.
point? I can find stuff in Hong Kong for cheaper when it comes out, and I get it quicker. Not that I care about getting it quickly because I don't mind
Hmm.
waiting. Because I don't have a YouTube channel or I don't need to review it first. I will get it when I get it. I'm not in a rush, so I don't mind
That's how I am too. Like
hunting for
the
deals.
cheaper the cheapest I can get the figure, the better, because then it makes room for more figures. I don't need it right away. I just
Yeah,
need it as cheap as possible, so I can justify it to her too.
yeah. Before and when I started collecting Hot Toys more, when I started buying them more regularly, it was just always on. I'm not gonna say whatever company, but like on that American company,
Hmm.
just always on that company. Just buy it through there. Just buy it through there. But then I started reading and listening to people on YouTube. Like you get them other places for a little cheaper, maybe no tax, free shipping,
Hmm.
or even from Hong Kong. Like that was a real foray to get into the Hong Kong market, right? Because it's like buying from overseas that seems kind of risky, but knock on wood, it's been fine so far. But now it's stopped because shipping has gone up so much. Like
Yeah, they don't have the
it,
free shipping options anymore.
they don't have the free shipping, so then that offsets the cost. So it's like I can't get stuff. Like I remember I got a rescue for $300 shipped.
Wow, that's
So like,
incredible.
and then at this American company it was like 460 shipped. So like I love hunt. I know that's like not Gigi's like that's not a deal. That's still like so much for one
Yeah,
thing, right?
I tell her how much I saved on certain ones, right? Like I think I got a
Yeah.
Star Lord for not as crazy that as that deal, but like somewhere around 200 shipped, and she's like, okay, you still spent too much on it, but
So then I try to approach it that way, right? Where I have to keep myself accountable. For a little bit during the beginning of the pandemic, I was going a little crazy. But that's because we're just stuck here. It's just like we're just doing nothing, bored. Like us buying Legos. Like I love Lego, right? So we just
you
buy
needed
that.
something to look forward to, right?
Yeah, and now we even started building Lego together, which
That's really
is
cool.
like
Oh, that's awesome.
really. We listen to a podcast about different
Oh,
things, and we just sit and build together, and she's found it to be really therapeutic, actually.
Kat, were you
So
into
now we have
Legos
something in
before
common.
you started? Or were you into Legos before? Or no, it was kind of.
No, no, not at all. I think literally uh, it was when you got.
Oh yeah, when I got COVID,
Mhm.
Oh no.
she
Okay.
yeah, because I got COVID at the beginning of the year. And we're so careful, it's one of those things where you're always so careful, and like, how did it
Such a
happen? It's like
random
okay,
freaking disease. Yeah.
and so
And
for
you boosted and everything. So
uh,
luckily Omicron, so
yeah,
relatively mild.
mild was pretty mild. I'm okay. And the biggest thing is that none of them got sick, right? Because that's the most important thing to me. That neither the
Absolutely.
kids or her got sick. But I had to isolate. But then that meant that she had to take care of both kids and
And keep him home from
keep him home
school.
from
Oh
school
gosh.
for a week. I felt so awful. Like there were times when they were both screaming, and I just wanted to go out and help, but I couldn't because we were trying to be careful, right? So I think you started building something with Ellie down here in this room while
Oh,
the other one was sleeping. then she would build something with our daughter.
But then it would happen too. Then like my particularness would set in. So if you decide, of course, my daughter's like 3, so she's like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do all that. I'm like, no, we're not gonna organize.
Oh, no.
I'm not on that page yet. Don't open that bag. And then so first she's like, I don't play with you anymore. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm gonna finish this set.
Oh my god.
Wait, I mean, you should talk about like how you felt like trying to do
Yeah, but
that.
it was really great because it felt, especially during that time, because it was really tough with the kids. Once they were able to go back to school, it was a little bit easier, but like I couldn't work at all during that time, and it came rather suddenly. So everything suddenly went from all work to like all kids. So it's like mama daycare, mama room service, mama house cleaning, like
Full
everything.
service.
She had to take care of 3 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Gosh,
so,
yeah.
And the oldest
nothing
one
really
was
seemed
worse.
to-
Yeah.
Exactly. Nothing really seemed to make sense at that time. But then for the Lego, it was like, well, I just have to follow these steps, and then this, like, everything makes sense. Like, literally, it clicks into place. And so it felt really, other than my poor daughter hopping around and being like, oh, I want to know, like, you're messing up the it was really nice, just sort of like over the course of a week or so to build something. So once he got out of isolation quarantine and we're all in the clear, we're all okay, thankfully. I stole your Birds of Paradise Lego, and I think we built that. I built that in one night where we had like Lord of the Rings on in the background.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the ideal day right there.
Yeah, that's
It was so like I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, I'm sitting here watching Lord of the Rings on date night with my wife, and we're building a Lego. How awesome is that?
You scored.
Gigi just recently started watching Lord of the Rings, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. For
And-
the first
I like
time ever. Yeah, but we had to, they're so long. And so we had to like cut them up in chunks. And I'm also like face blind. So everybody, like, especially when they're all like has a, face hair. I was like, wait, is that the same guy? So it took me a little bit to get the hang of like who was who.
But she was like, this is so similar to Harry Potter
Yeah.
that it's perfect for her. So that's what got her into it. Like, okay, whatever gets you into it, that's fine.
She's a huge Lord of the Rings fan.
Yeah.
How many times did you watch Lord of the
I
Rings?
watched Fellowship when it first came out in theaters 3 times.
Oh,
Oh my
wow.
gosh.
Okay.
One of them was like straight up just by myself, and it was awesome. It was like, this is great. It was in a near empty theater, and I loved it. And I felt like all that nerd stuff came out around the same time, like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. And then that's when, I know people have mixed feelings about Phantom Menace and so on, but when that kick-started Star Wars, and those all around the sort of like early aughts
Yeah.
time period. And so it's just
We're
like,
that
wow,
generation that
that's
grew up
really
on like the cutting edge, sci-fi stuff, right? So no wonder so many of us are into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when did Lord of the Rings come out? That was like, I think I was in college. It was just like such an event to go to watch those movies with your friends. Like we used to go in like big packs. Like it was like 10 of us. And even like all these Marvel movies, I remember going to all those with my family and friends. It was like 6, 7, 8 of us. And that kind of stuff, like I miss a lot from, the pandemic when we were going to movies, and now if we go to movies, it's like only a couple people can go, or just only I saw Batman by myself. Like
Me too. I couldn't convince Gigi to go to a 3-hour movie, so she's like, "You're seeing that one on your own."
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, for multiple reasons, because one, she didn't care for it because she saw the trailer. She's like, "What did you think about the trailer?"
It just feels so relentlessly dour. I think also having been fed like a steady Marvel diet, for so many years, now I kind of want my superheroes with a side of levity, especially because everything in the world right now is just so crummy. Like I don't need more dark stuff. So I don't like that one. Like I watched Nolan, and like I'm fine with it. I like it, but when I saw the trailer, I was like, nah.
I was like, but the music. I was like, but this is gonna be a detective movie. It's gonna be amazing. And she's like,
I don't care about that. I can't literally see anything. Like everything was just so like literally dark, like visually dark. You know,
Oh
it was
my
like that one
gosh.
episode of Game of Thrones where it was like no one could see
Yeah.
what the heck was going on. I was like, I don't
Right.
even know, is that Batman or was that
Um,
Catwoman? No, with the
Yes,
cape, that's Bat.
cat.
Wait, what's
That's
going on?
me.
Yeah, I was
That's
like,
me
what? Like,
with the last Batman movie. I was like, I literally was like, is that Batman? Like, what is? I
oh
can't see
my gosh.
anything.
Well, you're both of your loss. You know, it was a great movie, but
It
okay, I
is
won't
our
say
loss.
great. Cuervo, what's your review? I say really, really good. But what was your review?
So, I went into this with really high expectations because I was like, I never thought we'd get like a true detective movie, right? Because everything we've seen of Batman up to this point is, you know, the different things and just punchy and a little bit of detective work, like in
Hmm.
Dark Knight, where he has that really fancy setup with the brick and the bullet. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay,
The
he kind of
ballistics
detected that.
research.
I'll kind of buy that as being detective work, but he was always like behind the Joker. So
Yeah.
sort of detected
he
that.
sort of he had a lot of fancy equipment. He didn't use
Just
his
a hint of it.
brain, right? I was like, I want something that features his brain more than his brawn, right? Like I'm really nerdy about that about Batman. Like I want to see the
Hmm.
detective side. So after watching it, I love the noir feel. Like I absolutely love it. Like that's what I envision a Batman movie to be. And I know something
Yeah.
like Kat, she's like it's
Too
too
dark.
dour, too noir. It's like no, I love that. Um,
Agree. That was perfect.
it was perfect. I love all the year one aspects of it where Batman is learning because that stuff it's beautiful, right? Because there's a scene. Can we talk? I guess spoilers or not, or
Um.
maybe it's just in generalities.
Yeah. Maybe we'll talk in generalities because I don't have a
In
good sense
general,
for
okay,
who's in here. So
yeah. So I overall really enjoyed it. There's some things in the plot that I maybe don't agree with, but overall I love it. I think I'd give it a 9.2 to
oh
nine
wow.
point
Okay.
9 to 9.2. I know my brother hated it. He was like, "Nah, I don't like it."
Hated it. Whoa. Okay. That's a
Oh
crazy reaction.
He
no.
did. I think he gave it like a 7. He was like, "That's high."
Wow. So,
Yeah.
so I want to kind of want to put a bow on the budget conversation because I feel like we're still in it. And so I have a
Oh yeah,
question
yeah.
directed to you and Kat. If you have any color on this, please hop in. But you know, there's so both of us having really liked the movie. There's obviously a lot of, there's comics, there's prints, there's records, there's hot toys, there's statues. What's the calculus that you do to figure out if it fits in the budget? Because I feel like you and I are really similar, where it's kind of like on a pay period basis, where like you have a plan of which figures you're going to get, but you could also have some flexible room in the budget for if you have a little left over for a pay period. So what's kind of that thought process and that calculus?
So kind of going back to even the first question was I have savings that I use for like if I go over budget I have my like figure savings. That's like its own little pocket. And I don't pre-order, so I don't have to deal with all that. But for this, I've been able to kind of stay back and say, okay, I haven't really bought anything the Batman, right? Because and there's been a lot of stuff that's come out. So I'm like, okay, I need to be careful because I could go crazy, right? And the
You could
first thing
fall into
that
the
popped
hype
up
easily.
and fell into the hype. I did buy some comics where he was featured in the cover, and I was like, that's not too bad. It's a couple bucks,
Cat, first of all,
and I don't have.
he started with he hasn't bought anything, and then he said, "But I bought some comics." Which
I
one
bought
is
some
it, Cuervo?
comics. That's like $5. That's like
I'm just
$10.
messing with you, man.
You know,
I wanted to be on the
If
winning
you're
team for
asking
once.
if he's got any like the Batman branded merchandise,
uh-huh.
the answer is true. It's no.
No.
But it did spark you being interested in getting Batman things again.
Yes. So there's that statue, the Prime One statue with the Jim Lee
Hey, Michelle.
interchangeable. Oh, hey Michelle. Uh, it's my sister, and
Oh,
it
that's
started
awesome.
this conversation about statues, right? Um, because that Jim Lee kind of portrait is really cool. I know not a lot of people love it, especially with all the new statues that were announced the last week or so. Like
Hmm.
everyone's into that. Like those
The
are
Prime
cool,
One
but
Blitzway versus this other Jim Lee version, right?
exactly. But I like that Jim Lee one because I love Jim Lee as an artist, right? And so I was like, I really like it. But the statues are so huge, right? They're so big. And I talked to Kat about it because those are expensive. And even she was like, well, I don't know. That just seems like so much money for one thing. And even at one point, she was like, well, maybe we can figure something out. But it's like, That's your birthday present for like 10 years.
Hey,
And
sounds like the trade-off.
but even for me, I was like, well, even if we go into a house, another house, and I have more room, like, do I really want to take up that much space for one thing and have to spend so much money on one thing? So even for me, I'm just like going back and forth on it. And, I was like, well, I do like quarter scale figures too. Like for that price, I get like 4 or 5 quarter scale figures, or three to
Yeah.
four, depending on which ones. And they take up a little bit less room, and they're still a little bit larger than this if I want a larger display. Because I was like, oh, that Spidey looks cool, that Mando looks good, that Dark Knight Rises quarter scale looks good. So, but then this one thing would just be like, it looks amazing, right? But I don't like about statue. What I don't like is that you have to kind of pre-order it before it comes out, because that's just the way statues work.
Hmm.
Otherwise, they might sell out. But then you don't know what the final product looks like. So, and I know a lot of people love statues. That's good, but I
And
just
it's an
can't
expensive
commit.
gamble too, right? Like a hot toy,
It
you get
is.
burned off 250 maybe, but
You can sell it if you don't like it. Like, okay, I find it hard enough to sell a hot toy. Like, if I have to sell a statue that big that comes in 1 or 2 boxes,
no way.
like, I honestly don't want to deal with that. Like, maybe I'll just have to wait to find. I want to see one in person. Like, I've never actually seen one in person to get a sense of the the depth of space it takes up, right? Like,
Yeah.
I know it's the dimensions. I can imagine it, but I think it's different when you see it in person. Like,
Also
So
with
that means we
kids,
have to
like
go to
where is it gonna
Frankensons
go?
when we're down there. Sorry,
maybe.
sorry, Kat, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, also with kids, it's like, where is it gonna go?
Yeah.
Like, even now, our daughter, she's always wanting to like look at and play with daddy stuff, and like the other day, is like, oh my god, don't touch that, don't touch that, oh my god, please, and so
Childproof locks and high hinges really help.
All right,
yeah,
that was going to
so
be one of the
yeah.
questions. So,
Yeah.
so
We'll get to
this
that.
you were saying this is in a high traffic area, right? So maybe we'll go there. This is in a high traffic
Yeah.
area. So how do you kind of balance, with is she allowed to go in there? Like what's really the
So yeah, she
process?
is. And I've given her things to play with. Like, she obviously knows, like, she's old enough where
She
she
already knows that all this is hers.
oh yeah, she's like,
She's long claimed it. All of this. Much as Jose tries to dispute the fact and like correct him, it's like, well, no,
hmm,
maybe one
hmm,
day, but this is all
hmm.
Papa's stuff. He's like, no, it's mine. I'm like, okay,
It
I'll let you
will
know.
one day be hers. Yeah, if she wants it. But the cool thing, I love this about my kids, at least. With her, she's already into it. She's like, Spider-Man. Oh, that's Batman. Oh, that's Wonder Woman. Oh, that's Cap. Like, she's already in it.
That's
And she's
so
like,
freaking cute.
Yoda, baby Yoda. And like, she knows, she doesn't call him Grogu, she just calls him baby Yoda. And
Who actually calls him Grogu?
I don't.
Gigi for
Oh,
sure doesn't
Yeah.
even.
No.
so, I've let her have things like Marvel Legends. Or some of my Funkos that aren't so expensive. Like, I have this little center spine of Funko Pop
Oh,
displays.
that's really
Which I
cool.
Um,
really like that. I saw it one time when you were like, I think you were on one of the streams, and I was like, oh my god, I really like I've never seen anybody display it in that way, and I really, really
It's
like
really
that.
cool.
Oh, thanks, Gigi. I was really proud of myself when I did that, because that's a CD. It's a CD like
Oh,
holder that they don't even sell
yeah,
anymore, because no one buys those, don't exist anymore,
Right?
really, right?
yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is a perfect size to put little Funkos in. But at the beginning, when because she would walk through here, I had to stop the Funkos like at a certain level, because otherwise she'd reach for them. So then, but now she's old enough where she can reach. So now I know to put any valuable stuff up high and all the less valuable stuff down low. And I literally just play with it. Like, you know what? It's okay. I have to be less precious about some of these things. He's
Yeah.
up. So Kat's gonna have to run away for a little bit, because
Okay, sounds good.
our son was really good today. He slept a long time, but he's up
Normally
now.
he's up around 11.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
this is
The
crazy.
fact that she
Well,
slept till noon, but maybe she'll be able to
So
come back on.
yeah.
Yeah. But she's
whatever
gonna
you
go
have
and
time for,
grab him.
but Kat, thank you so much for joining.
Oh,
Okay, of
Really,
course.
really appreciate it.
Thank
So
you for
hopefully
having
you
me.
can come back. If not, we'll do a part two. We'll
Thank
line up
you.
some more questions.
It depends on how loud he is.
Sounds good.
He's a screamer.
yeah.
Oh man.
Oh,
Oh no,
Pancake
now the
is up
star is
too.
gone. What
Pancake
was
just
that?
got up. I said Pancake
No
just got
way.
up. Look.
Oh, I see you. Yeah.
Same.
So
Oh man.
what was I saying, Marco? Oh, about my
So
daughter.
yes, yes.
So, I let her play with some of that stuff, and it kind of helps her like learn, like, okay, look, this stuff you can play with, but this other stuff, maybe not so much. You really can't touch that. Plus, I put childproof locks on these doors, and so she's kind of given up trying to open them. She can't.
Oh,
Or
so
like
she's
these
tried for
doors,
sure.
she's tried, and so these doors have this up here, so it's higher up, so she can't open it. Um, and then I just need to make sure I don't leave stuff out because otherwise it's on me. Like,
Yeah.
I left some stuff out once and she grabbed it and it wasn't anything valuable, but it was like, oh, that's my bad. Because, she's a kid. She doesn't know any better. What the hell, like, how much something costs.
Yeah.
And
And
I
you're
have
an
a
adult
desk.
collecting toys, so that's on you as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
And
Oh,
does
I like to describe. Go ahead, Gigi.
no, I was gonna say, does she? Because I feel so. Marco has some lower ones, and I was gonna
Okay.
ask because you have something like very similar. And whenever kids, like our house is already not very like kid friendly. Everything's either like
Hmm.
metal or wood, and
No.
so whenever we do have kids over, I mean they're immediately drawn to them, right? I mean they're
Yeah.
movie characters, so they go and they
Yeah.
put their hands on the glass.
And
Yeah,
she
I
sees
know.
me like low key freaking out inside, and she's like, "Why are you acting like that?" And I'm just like, "I didn't say anything to the kid. I just tried to internalize it." But
So does your daughter do that? Because it's pretty.
She,
Are they pretty reachable?
if you look, like the glass goes down all the way to the bottom on these doors. So I've learned to be okay with the fact there's going to be handprints because she'll go and she'll do this, like you said, and I have to clean it up every once in a
there
while.
you
And like,
go.
okay, that's fine. Like I've had to control my neat freakness, and not just with this, right? But like with everything about like being a parent. Like, our living room right now has so much clothes from the last couple days that we had to wash, but Kat's been really busy at work. I had a deadline yesterday or the day before. I was working late every day, and the kids, we still have to do all that. So it's like the last thing I want to do is fold laundry, and it's like, okay, we're just gonna have to let it pile here, and we're gonna do it over the weekend, and it's gonna sit there for a couple of days, and Kat and I have both had to learn to be okay with that, and it's
Absolutely.
and because we're both a little bit of neat freaks, and so it's tough. It's hard. Like, oh my god, like the kid, my daughter will move stuff around, and like, but you got to clean it up. So
I feel
we've
like
had
yeah,
to
I feel
learn.
like that's the thing that we're I'm not like that, but Marco is very much so like that where I will see like a pile similar, right? Like you're really busy at work and you take it out
Mhm.
of the dryer and you put it there for and if it's there more than like 2 days or something, I'm like, oh my god, is Marco okay? Like, are you doing okay? Like, is your anxiety like how are we doing? And so I can't even
Yeah,
like what you're saying about okay, you just have to learn with kids because I was like,
yeah,
yeah, that's exactly
I
what
feel
I
like it
imagine.
just us being married though. Like when I had my own place and she moved in, it was like very neat, very tidy. And she's just a little tornado. I think we talked about
Because
before.
Cuervo, I didn't move in. I moved in literally the day after our wedding, so we didn't live together before we got married.
And so
okay,
she brought
so
all
it
her
was all a
stuff.
learning experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's right. So we're still
yeah.
figuring it out to this day. But so I guess
We are too.
so any other tips on how to be an OCD collector and also have kids and not have
Like
everything
I
as neat as
mentioned,
you'd want it?
childproof locks on. Like I also have some Bestas. Those are the ones that are IKEA Bestas. They're more square, and they have a door that have a little bit of a. They have a reveal around them, so you can put like the childproof lock on it really nicely. You have these little magnets, so you hit the magnet at the right spot, and you can open the door. I still have to do that to these, but because the glass sits really proud of where the shelf ends, it's hard to do it. But I figured out something how to do it on my own, so I'm going to do it because at some point she's gonna learn how to open them, and then
You
that's
only
going to
buy
be on
yourself
me.
so much time. Yep.
I can only buy myself so much time, right? So it's about childproofing and knowing where to put stuff, like not put stuff out of reach or make stuff inaccessible. Like like I have all my accessories and stuff in these tackle boxes, and I put those in a corner behind the desk, so then she
Oh, there
really
you go.
won't go through them. And then I make sure she's supervised whenever she's down here. Like if I bring her or my son down while maybe I'm doing laundry, then I give him a toy or something else to play with. With kids, you kind of learn to navigate their language, and you're like, okay, I'll give you something, and then that'll kind of keep you busy for a little bit. And maybe you don't want your toy, you want that $10 Marvel Legends Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Go nuts. I don't care.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you were talking about, potentially moving into a new place in the near future. So I think 1 6-figure focus. Shane, what's going on? Thank you for joining. Kind of has a question, and I had the same thought. Do you think if you move into a place that has a dedicated collection room, would you keep it locked? Like, would it be off limits, or do you think that wouldn't fly with Kat?
I honestly haven't thought about that, and it just depends on how the room is set up. If I know, like, oh, you know what? Because right now, when I mess around with stuff on this table, like, I need to make sure I clean it up and put it away, even if it's not like finalized, because I don't want Ellie to mess with it in the morning when my wife takes them to school. Because my wife takes them to school in the morning and I do pick up, right? We split it up that way. And so I'm not here down in the room, and my wife is putting one kid in the car while the other one is hanging out here. So she might touch something. So then I need to make sure everything's put away. Now, if we're in a house where it's not the walkthrough room, I think depending on the situation, I might lock it. But I also then don't want to create that sense of, you can't enter here, this is only my room. I want to keep it fairly open until something breaks, and I'll be like, you're never coming in here.
That's right. That's it. Strike one, and
like
you're
Victoria and breaking that T-Rex.
Oh gosh,
the T-Rex,
exactly.
right? Like, she broke the T-Rex. So we're the adults, they're the children. So much even of having kids is learning about them and reading up on that. And it's like, look, I'm the one who's supposed to manage this. She's not going to know. So it's up to me to do the work. And if it requires locking, then I'll have to do it. But hopefully I don't have to. I don't know. We'll just kind of see how it goes. Hopefully by that point, she's a little older. But even then, kids still break stuff. Hell, I might lock it for my brother because he is a tornado.
Oh, no.
He'll just... Dude, when I was a kid, I used to... when I used to build Lego, I would do my thing, and he'd come over and be like, I want to play. I'd be like, I don't trust your ass. And he'd be like, I'm going to pick it up. Oops. And there it goes. And he'd break stuff all the time, like, no question. So now when he's like, can I open that cabinet? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, he tries to open it. He's like, damn it, it won't open. I was like, yeah, it's childproof for a reason.
But I have 2 younger sisters, and same thing. When I would build Legos, I would be so proud of what I built. Go to school, come home, and it would just be leveled, absolutely destroyed. I'm like, come on, but it's my fault for leaving it out at that point. But when they come over as a, that's right, exactly. But it's a tough pill to swallow when your master creation gets demolished.
Tell me about it. But you know what? Kind of going back to that conversation of navigating space and being a dad. Like, so much about being a dad, I've discovered is like you have to adjust so much of what you do, right? Like, even finding time for myself to do whatever hobby it is, or just to watch TV. It's like I love me some me time, right? I need
it's essential.
It's essential. And I still need to find time for it. Like, Kat needs to find time for it, but then it's like, oh, I can't have as much of it as I used to. I just can't. You got to make time you got to make lunch. You got to go clean up this. You got to do that. It's just your life changes, and you kind of come to that perspective at some point. At first, it was not tough, but I was just like, damn, I don't have time to do anything, especially at the beginning. Jesus, you're so overwhelmed, and you're just like, oh my God, what's going on? I have a kid in the house, and that's a 24/7 job.
Yeah. But it seems like you've really found a way to balance, and you've got a beautiful collection and a beautiful family, and you're still able to comment on
she's so supportive,
live streams.
way more supportive than I am.
Yeah, right.
Maybe
that's the secret.
I'm really lucky at this, in that she is very supportive. It stopped with the statue. She was like, because I'm honest, about the price and everything. I'm like, hey, look, this thing is like so much. She's like, that's a lot of money. That's you want to strain on one thing. She's like, just think about that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess so. So even for me, like I said, in my head, I'm still not sold on the statue. Yeah. But I did start with comics. These guys were talking about comics for so long. I was like, nope, I'm not paying attention.
9.8, baby.
Danny, damn you. And now look, like, now I have this.
Wow, that's an awesome book, though.
Now, this book is not particularly expensive. It's not worth a lot of money. But I just bought it because I was like, well, I love Batman 89. It's my favorite nostalgic Batman because, that's the first movie I saw as a kid. And it's amazing. And I love the cover. I go to 9.8. It wasn't that expensive and it's not worth much. But I was like, I'll just get it because it's got sentimental value to me. And I started buying other comic books here and there. Danny. But he's also been really helpful. I want to say I have so many questions for him, and he's just always helping out. He is really a sweet angel, that guy.
So he and I are going to meet up at a yeah. What does she think about it?
Oh, she likes that she's excited that I'm going back into comic book collecting because I have some old comic books that I'm eager to go back to my mom's house to go check out. Like, I wonder what I have in those boxes. Like, I don't even know anymore because I used to collect back in the day. But, you get to college or high school, college, even after college when you're still single, like just partying every weekend. Yeah. Like, I went away from comics, to be honest. It's just like,
yeah, of course, you only have time for so much and money for so much.
Money and like, in high school, it was like, I want to try to be this person, not really. Although in high school, I was really like quiet guy. I kept to myself. I was nerdy with the AP classes and I played soccer. So I knew some of the jocks and stuff.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
But so I kind of mingled with different groups, but it wasn't until college that I was like, oh my God, this is who I really am. Or like, I was just kind of like, I like being the center of attention.
Yeah. I think you and I are similar in that way. Sorry, Gigi had to get pulled away to take care of our child, Pancake, who is going crazy right now.
So, I understand.
So you were talking about, when you were younger. So I think that's a really good segue into go into the Wayback Machine because, this is origin story. So we want to hear about. I know you mentioned the DX12 was the first hot toy you got, but
yeah,
do you have any insight into what you collected as a kid? Did you collect like action figures and did that ever stop or kind of, so what did you collect as a kid is the first question. Yeah. And then how do you think that kind of led into you getting into hot toys?
So as a kid, my first true love, and still is, Lego. Like ever since I was a kid, I was just always, wanting Lego. Whenever I get a good report card, my parents would promise me, okay, we'll go to the store, you can get one set. I was like, and I never like did well in school to be like, oh, because it just kind of happened. I was like, oh, but I want that Lego set that I can shoot for, right? And we weren't very well off when I was younger, so I'd have to rely on yard sale Legos a lot. We'd go to yard sales, and I just go and always look for Lego. So whenever I find a big box of Lego, I'd be like, oh, can I have this? It's like $10. I'm like, all right, you can take it. So that was like
the yard sale Legos are the best because you don't even know what you're going to get. I don't think I ever had an original set. It was all yard sale stuff. So
I had some original sets that I regret selling, or not selling, but just leaving behind because I moved back and forth a lot, or not a lot, but a couple times when I was younger. Mexico back to here, back to Mexico, back to here. So I lost a lot of stuff that I had as a kid. I never kept it. But it was Lego. That's what really kind of inspired me even to want to do architecture, right? It was just,
yeah,
I like building stuff. I like putting stuff together. And it just kind of dawned on me one day, I think it was in middle school. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be an architect. And it just kind of clicked.
That's cool that you made the vision come to fruition, though. That's awesome.
It's, it just kind of happened that way. But, it was Lego. And I collected some action figures like G.I. Joe and then Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles was a big one. I used to have a bunch of the Ninja Turtles. And then I kind of lost all of those because I moved back and forth, right? But that's what I used to have. And then Hot Toys, it was just, I think I started then at some point collecting small things like Cos Baby, Marvel Legends, what else? Even more Lego. Oh, and my son is in the room and he's looking at me. He's excited. And I bought all that stuff, and then I think I bought the DX12. I was like, this is an amazing piece of art. That's what it is, right? I remember, this is gonna sound super dorky, but I bought it for myself and I gift wrapped it for Christmas for myself.
Yeah, I love that. I was like, self-care right there, Cuervo. I love that.
Because I was like, I wasn't an age where my parents would buy me like a thing or two, but I was like, they're not gonna know to buy me something like that. So because it got to the house like a day before Christmas, I was like, I'm gonna open it up, and my parents were like, "What the hell is that? So you buy a doll?" But
Did you tell them how much
I
it costs?
no, hell no.
Yeah, right.
Well, because it was my money anyway. But I
That's
think they
true.
would have like scoffed and like, "Why are you spending so
Yeah.
much money on that?
That's what my parents
What's wrong
say.
with
Like,
you?"
what are you? Come on these dolls. What are you doing?
Although you know
Hey, it's our
what,
money.
my mom is, she'll watch the streams. I tell her when I'm on, and
Oh,
she's
that's
always like
cool.
really excited. She saw me unbox Jinsakai, and I told her how much that was, and she was like, "Worth it. It was worth it." She's like,
I
"I
Aww.
love
love that."
that.
So she'll come over, and she came down, and she'll like open the cabinet. She's just like staring at it. She's like, "Look at all the little details." She's like, "This is an amazing figure." I think it's her favorite figure out of all the ones I have.
Aww.
She just loves it. So now
Chief
she's
says
just
they
like,
aren't dolls; they are commodities. That's
I know, but my
from The
parents
Office.
didn't refer to them as dolls back in the day.
That's
So
it.
then, I was like, oh, I'm only gonna buy that Batman. Clearly not. Like, what, 10 years later almost. Um,
Oh, that's so
and
cute.
yeah, that's just kind of how it started. And I like Batman's DC stuff, Marvel, Star Wars, and I've started selling off some of the like excess Iron Man that I have to buy things like this Jinsakai figure, right? Because it's so unique,
Yeah.
so different.
As opposed to
Like,
all the Iron Man kind of blending in together if you have them side by side, right?
yeah, and I love that. But then it's like, okay, I can maybe get rid of that one because one or two of them, right, to buy this because it's just different and cool. So the collection evolves, you change. I started getting into 3-0 Transformers because I love
Oh gosh.
Transformers, and those things they pose, they're awesome, right? They're die cast, they're heavy, they're really cool. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how it's gone and where it's going. Uh,
Okay, awesome.
I think you might hear myself.
Oh, I love it.
So,
Hey, this is
uh,
perfect. This is what we're talking about, though, right? Like
yeah.
we're eating up your Saturday morning that you're spending time with your family, and you are finding a balance. So thank you for that.
No, I thank you for having me on too. And it's cool because like today he just slept for so long. That's like really my wife and I were looking at each other like, I can't believe he's still sleeping. Like that's insane. He never does that, but he's a good kid. He knew that we were going to be on stream, and
Yeah,
he was good today.
that's
But
beautiful.
but yeah, that's like your collection evolves like everyone else's. Like I think Eddie, he like got out of 1/6 and he's going to statues, and but he's also looking at small figures. I, you know, I don't know what it'll be next. At some point, I might get bored and like sell stuff.
Yeah,
Now I'm
yeah.
like into comics. Like I started axing 1/6 figures, and I was like, well, I already have enough of those. Maybe I'll buy some comics. You just balance it out.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing about collecting. It just never stops. I mean, also the horrifying thing, but it's just always
Yeah.
evolving. It never stops, and you find new ways to display and new things that are appealing to you. So no, that's really really. You got a beautiful collection. If you sell any of those figures, please put me at the top of the list to
I will. I will.
for. So,
And you know what? Now that because I'm going back to work actually next week. Like we have to go back and not work from
full
home
time,
anymore.
20 or
Yeah.
5 days a week.
Actually, it's cool because our company's doing 3 days a week,
Okay,
mandatory. And then the other Monday and Fridays are, if you want to come in, you can come in. If not, you can just work from home.
that'll work.
So, like, I wonder how it'll change because I'll go back to work. I'm in downtown, and I like to dress up pretty nice. Um, and so it's like maybe I'll just have to kind of balance back to like go buy some shoes or like clothes and things like that.
That's what I'm afraid
Um,
of too, right?
yeah, it's
We
like
don't know when we're going
look,
back to the
I
office,
love
but
me. I love me a nice fitted suit. I won't lie. Like I don't wear a suit to the office or anything like that because it's casual. But every once in a while, like just I'll just wear a suit because I just love the feel of wearing a custom
it
suit.
makes you feel so
That's
good.
it
What's funny
does.
in 2020, like one of my goals was to buy like another suit, and I was like looking at stuff, and I was pretty close to pulling the trigger on a few. So I'm kind of obviously glad because it wouldn't have fit anymore anyways. But that you're right. There's another expense that's coming up is to how do you still look good at your workplace and balance this stuff.
Exactly. You just and some people they don't care about that stuff. I don't care about shoes or they don't care about that. Like, there's other things I don't care about. So you find that balance and
Absolutely.
stay in your stay in that Excel file. It's like, okay,
That's
check out my expenses. It's important.
she keeps wanting to see the Excel file, and I was like, you will never see the, because I know she'll want to sum it up. I'm like, you'll never see the sum. Just know my
No.
taxes paid. Know that I've got it under control, and I have a internal compass for what I think is appropriate versus not, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's all she needs to know.
Sometimes I do look at that sum. I'm like, oh, never mind. I want to delete that sum.
Yeah.
But that's over the
It's
span of years, not taking into account anything that you might sell, Gigi.
there you go. Exactly.
Whatever you guys need to tell yourself to sleep at night, it's fine.
And I feel like my 3-year total, like it's totally, it's fine. It's a totally appropriate total. And I haven't,
Yeah,
don't
because
feel
when
like
you
I've
break it
gotten out of
down,
control
like a
yet.
pay period per month, you're like, oh yeah, that's within the budget. That's reasonable. That we allow ourselves to have money to buy splurge on stuff, right? Like
Absolutely.
if we can, if we couldn't, then we wouldn't.
But Cuervo, I told him, I was like, what about a percentage or like, a year to spend on ourselves? He's like, no, I don't want to be restricted.
Because in this hobby though, there's always like new things that like maybe you didn't have on your radar that all of a sudden you like might want, and you find room for it somehow.
Yeah, there are things, and that's why it's good to have flexibility. It's like this
My
rigid
man.
flexibility, you know.
Right.
It's like you try to you stay within lane, and sometimes you kind of go out, but then you come back in, you go out, you come back in.
Right.
So like I think I refer to it as a rigid flexibility. So it's like a little bit of
I
both.
like that. See, Cuervo and I
You know,
are on
going
the
to
same page here.
going to architecture school, you learn to use those fancy terms that like, oh, it's so full of shit. That's what she'll be like. That's that architecture school coming out in you. People, they're like, when they present their designs, they're like, the juxtaposition between the cube and the sphere here creates this. It's like, oh my gosh, shut up.
So-
Even I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
sometimes.
No, but you and I can nerd out on that same, level there when it comes to the architecture, urban
Yeah.
design, pedestrian scale, right? Walkable
I love that we
neighborhoods.
connected on that because I didn't know that. I know that Gigi had mentioned something about you working at the city, but I didn't know in what capacity. So when we started talking about that the other day, I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. We speak the same language.
Yeah. and I will say one other thing. We were talking about the pandemic and being in the streams, and like it's just so cool to meet people from around the world. And I'm really looking forward to us meeting up at Disneyland. It'll become really real when it's like, this is a friend that I met online, and then
Right?
now
Like-
we're going to Disneyland together.
And now it's you and Gigi and Mario. It's like, you guys talked to you 1/6
And I think
Figure
Eddie
Focus
might
last
join too.
week. Oh, cool. Yeah, Eddie and I were talking about that. You guys talked to 1/6 Figure Focus. He's in Ireland, right?
Incredible.
So, Ben? He's in Canada. So this is just insane. This is all. My wife is looking at me. She's like, "Wow, Canada."
It's
like-
international over here.
It's international.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's-
my wife is making a face about Eddie because in the last stream, when I was unboxing the Spider-Man, towards the end, my daughter came back with my wife, and she started crying upstairs, and Eddie made a comment. He was, I think, referencing Hangover, something about like, keep that baby quiet. And so then later, my wife watched the stream, and I told her about it. She was like, who the hell was that made that
Yeah.
comment? I was like,
Who's
oh,
saying
it's
that?
fun. It's Eddie. He's cool. And then she was like, oh, hell no, it's on. If I see him at Disneyland, I'm going to beat him up.
Eddie, she's coming for you. All right.
I
Yeah.
talked to Eddie about it. He was laughing. He was like, I'm sorry. It was just a joke. I was like, I saw it. But my wife is
he's an
like,
even bigger shit talker than I am, man. He's
oh,
crazy.
yeah. He is. Well, I love Eddie. He's a cool guy. I was like, no,
he is.
he's cool. He sent me the Doctor Who postcard. She was like, all right, some points. But she's like,
All right.
not looking very happy.
He's
I got your back, Kat. I got your
he's,
back.
Oh, Gigi said she's got your bag.
he's on notice. Well, yeah, really looking forward to that. I know I promised you an hour 30, so I think we're just about there. So, any other thoughts on balance in life, hot toys, the Batman, anything else that you want to talk about?
I think when we first started dating, I took her to Disneyland for her birthday, and I hated Disneyland. Like I did not like it.
Whoa.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, I went only a handful of times. I think it was because I was poor. I resented like, man, I can't afford shit. The food here sucks. The lines are long. I can't buy anything. Why would I come here?
It's an overpriced experience. Yep.
And so I was like, I don't like it. As opposed to my sister, she would go every other weekend with a friend. She would just take her, and she was like, she got to a point where she was like, I'm tired of Disneyland. I'm like over it. I'm like, what the?
Oh my
And me
God.
and my brother are like, you spoiled brat. You know how many times we went to Disneyland? So I was like, fine, Kat, I'll take it. We'll go together. Because she liked it. I was like, I'm not into it, but we're dating. Let's go. By the end of the trip, by the end of the day, we ended up buying the most expensive annual pass.
Wow. All
Because
right.
I just kind of like fell in love with the just how like detached it is from other stuff, right? And just how much she enjoyed it made me enjoy it, and because it makes a difference who you go with. So like then after that
Absolutely.
we would just go all the time, and then now that we have kids, my daughter loves it. Like she just
Oh.
talks about Disneyland. Can we go to Disneyland again? And so we enjoy like seeing it through her eyes. You would experience
Absolutely.
things differently. So then like we become big Disneyland fans. But like, what about
Wait, I
you
have a
guys?
question about that. I actually never went as a kid because like it was so expensive. We were a family of like we had five. I have it's like five kids, so it's like we were poor like growing up. There's no way we could have gone to Disneyland as like a family. Like how do you even afford that? And so I went for the first time. Marco took me for the first time, like shortly after. I think maybe a few years after we were dating, and I actually took my mom. So that was really cool. Like obviously she had never been, but
Yeah.
as far as like taking kids to Disneyland, I'm terrified to take children. I get the whole like their eyes just like glow. My coworkers, that's what they told me. Like you start seeing Disneyland through their eyes, but like how long realistically are you there for? Because like kids
Oh,
only are good for a certain amount of time.
yes. Um, so that's a really funny question, Gigi, because even nowadays, it's like, how long can we last? Not just them,
Yeah.
but how
Right.
long can we last?
Exactly.
When we used to go back in the day, we used to go like, oh my God, Disneyland's gonna close tomorrow. Like we used to go from 8 to midnight,
Oh man. Yeah.
like for
That's
2 days in a
intense.
row,
Oh my
because we're like
gosh.
so into everything, but and then we got to a point where like, wait a minute, we don't need to do this. We could just like go for a couple hours and come back. Like, granted, we don't live that close to Disneyland. It's still like an hour drive or 40 minutes. But we started scaling back. And now with the kids, when we first started taking my daughter, it was like when they're little, like maybe a year and a half or two, they can last for a little bit, but then they fall asleep. So it's like, oh, that's not
Mhm.
that bad. But now when she's actually a little older and she starts to get a little cranky if she didn't take a nap, then you're like, well, maybe let's leave like at 4 before traffic hits. So you're always kind of thinking about all these external factors like, hey,
Yeah.
traffic, food. Like, oh, do I eat here? Do I eat there? Does it make sense to do it here or there? Traffic. Oh, is she going to get sick in the car? She's going to have a snack. It's like,
So
okay,
many
so then
variables.
realistically, it's like you get up in the morning and you don't leave as quickly as you thought you would, right? You're like, it takes a while. She's like, you're downstairs, and she's like, Papa, I have to poop. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Oh no.
And like, all right, let's take her out of the car seat. Let's go upstairs, and then she like, okay, let's go to the toilet, and like, oh, we forgot this. Okay, I have to come back and get it. So it's like everything is a process,
That's right.
right? And so like you didn't leave here till 10. You get there like at 11:30 into the park. It's like you go on one thing, it's lunchtime, and you go on a couple of things. She falls asleep, and then next thing you know, it's like, well, here's the cutoff point. Either we stay or we leave. It's like, okay, today we'll stay, and
There you
tomorrow,
go.
maybe another time, it's like, nah, let's just leave because we're tired.
Yeah.
Or because maybe she's just not having it that day, and she's like cranky and like not into it. Like, well, then we don't have to be here. Let's go home.
Everything that
So
you
it's like,
explained about your daughter is literally me. Like,
Yeah. That's how I have to treat Gigi right there. She's getting
do I
cranky
have my
now.
snacks?
Yeah.
Do I need a nap?
She gets
Like,
real cranky really quick.
although I will say, Gigi, I'm with you. If I don't eat, I get hangry like a mother.
Yeah.
Cat knows. She was here. She described it as like the four horsemen of the apocalypse, where she sees me trotting down the horizon, and it's like I can
So,
feel it. Like he's gonna get hangry any
we
second.
gotta
Like
get
if
him a
we don't find you
Snickers.
food, like this fucker's gonna get. He's just gonna be pissy. So for me, like I'll be chatting and talking, but if I start to get hangry, I'll just get really quiet. Like
Yes, yes.
She gets
We're in
really
the
quiet.
car
Bother
and
me.
Marco will start asking me, and I was like, I'm trying to preserve my energy. Please talk to me
Yes.
after I eat.
And you think that I would know better after, us dating and being married for so long, but I still forget sometimes. So I'm just a
Man,
dummy,
you
as
you
we've
can't
covered
forget
before.
that because
That's right.
it's not. We're not pleasant to be around with when we're hangry. I'll be
No,
honest about it.
not at
Like
all.
I'm a pain in the ass.
Big facts.
Oh
So
man.
like I love food. A cat loves food too. We like good food, but she's a little bit more manageable when she gets angry. She can control it. I
Mhm.
can't. I'm just like, feed me now. I'm just gonna be
It's like
pissed.
the Hulk. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how my son is. Like that's why when he got up, Kat was like, "Okay, I have to go," because he'll start hulking out, and that's even our at the
Hulking out.
daycare. Yeah, she described him as that. She was like, "He's really good. He's really smiley. But he can go from 0 to 60 like that. He'll be like, oh no, I want to eat,' so he just
Oh
starts
my
crying and like in pain. He starts eating. He's like, he's happy again.
God.
So I think
Oh
he
my
got that from me.
goodness.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, really looking forward to Disneyland. You'll show us all the good spots
Yeah.
to eat, and yeah, you and Mario,
Yeah.
I'm sure will give us lots of tips. And excited to see Eddie in person and talk shit to him in person as well. So
And I'm excited to see like people that I've only ever chatted with and now like get to stream with like this in person. It's wild. I never
it's
honestly thought I'd be
incredible.
doing that, but you know,
It's
here we are.
surreal, right?
We can never
It
tell
Exactly.
my
is like
parents. They'll be like, they're gonna
Yeah,
murder
you met
you.
them where on
I
YouTube?
know
What the heck?
my mom. So one last thing. Um, so you know how on YouTube my name is like Cuervo. I got that name because from back in the
Jose
day in
Cuervo.
college. It's like, it's just a nickname that people gave me. You can only imagine like college days, post college days.
Yeah.
Um, Drinking was involved. So, I never
Never
thought
with
like what this
me.
would be my name
Never.
on YouTube. And right, so it's just like I started commenting and that was my name. I never really loved it. It's just like, oh, you set up your YouTube and you have
It
to
was a
choose your name.
placeholder, yeah.
It's a placeholder. But then it's just like,
Yeah.
so on my Instagram, I purposely chose like a different name because I was like, I don't want people to know who I am. Even
Oh
my mom
no.
was like, and people don't know who you are, right? Like they
Yeah.
don't know where you live. Like be careful, right? It's like that paranoid like Mexican mom, like,
You're
oye,
right.
mijo, ten cuidado. It's like, que no sepan dónde
Uno nunca
vives. Make sure they don't
sabe.
know where you live.
That's right.
¿Quién sabe? It's like, están raros allá. Like there's strange people out there.
Yeah.
So like, but now my wife is funny because she's like, you've got a branding issue. And she's like, you're this name on your YouTube channel, but you're this other name on your Instagram. People won't be able to link you together, and you're not gonna get the likes. I'm like, I guess so. A little bit of an issue. I don't really care about having. I started taking pictures during the pandemic because, Kat's here. I think she wants to say hello
Oh
too. I
yeah.
can
Oh
hold this
yeah,
a
go
little
Bring
bit
the
while you say
baby.
hi.
Yeah, you can bring the baby.
Oh.
Just bring him.
Oh,
well,
you
they might not
you
want
want to talk to
to get
them a
on
little bit
camera.
and say hi? I don't think she wants to have the baby on camera.
I
That's
totally
fine. That's
The
understand
fine.
that.
thing
Yeah,
that
that's a
um,
consideration that us non-parents don't always realize. They're like, oh yeah, I understand. That's something to think about. So
yeah. You want to jump on for a little bit? Actually, while Kat's gonna jump on for 1 second.
okay, heck yeah,
Sorry about that.
No,
no
you're fine.
worries at all. We're making it up as we go. Oh man, so we got Equan in here as well. Okay, Equan, I'm sure can give us the dad perspective when.
Work on the weekends are not
Oh
fun.
no, Equan! Sorry to hear that you're working. All right, let's see. So we'll tell her once she's able to hear us. Okay. Boom. Hey, Kat. I think you're on mute there.
There
Boom.
we
All right.
go.
All right, you're back. So this is like the perfect illustration of balancing life and being a parent.
And actually,
And-
Kat, the baby woke up the same. Pancake woke up at the same time. So I
Are
also
you
had
serious?
her right now.
You're
Yeah.
like, Gigi had to step away for a sec. Oh my god.
The babies woke. Yeah.
So now that Cuervo's gone, we can ask the real questions here.
All right, let's get to it. Let's go. He's not here. Get all the dirt.
So you're obviously into the comic book stuff, and well, at least Star Wars was what we knew. In Batman, obviously you were on the fence, but like what other like sci-fi or nerdy stuff are you into or do you collect?
I am very much a fantasy person. So Star Wars, I was really deep into Harry Potter. in high school and college. All of that, like Game of Thrones when it first started. We love The Witcher, like anything that has
Oh, The Witcher.
fantasy elements. Yeah. So Lord of the Rings, obviously. So we're really excited about the new series. Sci-fi, not so. I got into like I kind of dallied with Star Trek a little bit when I was younger, and I'm always
Okay.
gonna have a soft space in my heart for Patrick Stewart. Oh, X-Men. Oh, I watched the series, the cartoon growing up.
Oh, that's
So
what got me into figures right there.
exactly, yeah. So X-Men, I was always really into that. I veered off into like anime and manga in college as well because Sailor Moon is what got me hooked in also as
There
a
you
kid.
go.
Those
That's
like
the
those
that's the
morning
gateway.
cartoons. Yeah, those morning cartoons. So yeah, so I was already really deep into that stuff when Jose and I met, and it's just I never got to the level of I want to collect things um, like Jose does. Uh, it's more like I like just watching it. I'm more of a like a
Okay.
content consumer. Um,
So do
I
you
don't know
watch
if
the
I
streams
really
with him
ever.
then?
Um, Sometimes it's unfortunate. Like the timing of it usually is like kids got to go to bed or something. Stole his chair. They're asking about like the stuff. They're asking me, what's the dirt on you?
Oh,
Yeah, we
the
said.
dirt.
Yeah, the
Yeah, we
really
said. How does
embarrassing
he get?
stuff.
How does he get his hair like that? Really, we've got to know.
Yeah, it doesn't
So,
move. That's just like,
No, it
is
does.
that?
It
no.
does. But it does
Oh,
Actually,
have
look at.
it's
wax
so
Okay,
on
all
it.
right.
big. No.
Cuervo, you're making me a little hot over here. Can you stop doing that, please?
I know, right? It's like I had the Pantene Pro V commercial thing going
But the question to Kat was with if you guys watch streams together, because I think that's something that Gigi and I have found some commonality in, because collecting weekly, she's like, she loves that they're funny, and there's
It's
other
so
content
wholesome.
creators that she has gotten into.
Because Kat, I'm not into like I think Marco tried to make me watch The Witcher. The only really thing is that I'm into is like Harry Potter, but like The Witcher, like
You
it's
like
just
the
like
Marvel movies too,
just like
though.
the dark stuff, like you remember. Like I don't want if the screen looks darker, like then and I can't figure out who's who. Like I'm not watching it. So I think that's what he was saying.
Oh
Like the
my
stream is
god.
really you're into way more things that like I never watched Star Wars and stuff like that. So really that's really the only like common ground that we have.
We don't watch streams together because I think for the most part,
I'm saying they kind of like hit also sometimes during awkward times. Like if anything, a
yeah,
lot of times in order for him to be part of the streams, it's because
yeah,
I have the kids or
yeah.
Okay.
something. And then
So this whole thing here is a good example of what just happened. Like, okay, we got trade switch. Obviously
I
when it's
love
something
it.
important like for family, then even now.
we just want to make sure our son doesn't destroy the room.
There you go. You can't have that happen. But no, this is like
So
a perfect real world example of like how you make it work.
yeah, it's like, okay, so he's like really into this water bottle right now. It's like, okay, so I'm moving, I'll make sure it's closed, I'm moving it to the mat, and it's gonna roll away from him, and he's like chasing it around, and like, it's okay, it's closed, but like,
Have,
that's what he's got all these toys, it doesn't matter,
yeah.
he wants the water bottle.
DX12 though, I think is what he probably would enjoy.
No. he's really, he's good, he's into it. But, we like to watch more shows together, like
Okay.
TV shows and movies. Like we like a lot of the same stuff. Every once in a while, there'll be something where she watches and I walk by and I'm like, I'm not watching that. But like, we love.
Guess what though? One show that happened on recently where I was like watching and he'd walk by, he's like, what is this? But then each time that he walked by, he kind of like linger a little bit more and a
That's
little
how it
bit
happens.
more and a little bit more. Until finally he was just like sitting down watching with me. It was Bridgerton.
I
So
love
cool.
Bridgerton.
Oh, really? Okay.
You
What's
just
what's
go
the
and watch.
background of that one? I'm like familiar with it, but I don't know the details.
It's
Describe
based
it.
on so it's from Shonda Rhimes who did like Grey's or for her team who did Grey's Anatomy and all that, which funny enough I don't watch. And it's based on a series of romance novels, which also I'm not usually into, but there's just something about the show that is so
Spoke to
addictive
you.
and like crack. I mean, obviously it doesn't hurt that there's just a bunch of very good-looking people going
There
around,
you go.
but yeah, it just
It's
cracked
like
me
a
up.
novela, basically.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
It's a novela, and
yeah.
I got really sucked into it. we even ended up watching an episode at my mom's house. I think we were there for Christmas. And Kat sits down, and my mom and I are in the kitchen, and she's in the living room. My mom's like, Kat, siéntate, go sit down, relax on the couch, watch TV while my mom and I are talking. And she puts on Bridgerton, episode 1. The first scene is 2 people going at it, having sex
against
a tree. She's wearing this old world corset dress and the hands.
Cochinadas.
And then you just see his butt. You see
and
there's like a butt shot, and he's just like going.
Like, what are you watching?
I was like, I don't know. I didn't know this was going to happen.
It just starts.
Oh my God.
I can't. And he go, oye, mamá, acá le gusta este porno. And she's like, my mom's like, no sé, mijo, es tu problema. She's like, that's your problem.
Oh my God.
Her time, and I was like, I get it, that's fine. It's like it always
funny.
happens that way, right? Like a most inopportune time. But so we really like that. We watch Witcher, and right now we're really into watching Insecure on HBO Max.
Oh,
yeah,
we
finally...
do watch that together.
Yeah,
you guys watch that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's really good.
We're behind. We're like on season 3 because we only just started watching it.
With her.
Especially having that LA bent, I'm sure that makes it even more appealing to you.
Yes, we're
Kelly's
we're
my
really
favorite.
impressed. We feel like, oh my God, Kelly,
So
the
funny.
best. She's so good.
But that LA thing, that's what I love about the show is that it's very real and centered around real LA, like Inglewood and places I've been to, and not just like Hollywood and downtown LA. You can see some of downtown LA and stuff, but you see places of LA that you don't normally see in shows. Like I don't know if you ever saw Southland. They really feature like really LA.
I don't think we've seen it.
He has strong opinions.
Southland is an old cop show.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was the one we were watching? Hentified? That was like a really cool and
Which one?
Which one?
Hentified? It's like gentrified, but it's
We're
really...
behind. We're behind. We really loved the first season, and we still haven't seen the second season.
Actually,
but also I remember
when
watching.
You say that, I don't think we've watched the second season either. But sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I remember when we watched the finale, we're like, what? How are they going to? They're just like, it was too many things at once. So it's like, wait, that and that, and we're just like, what are we gonna do? We're so stressed out.
No, but that's so important though to find those little moments to sneak away and watch a show together, even if that's the you time that you get. It's like it's important time.
Yeah, and I do really like that you guys, like you were saying with the Lego set and like watching, like I think that's very special because especially with kids, like we already have a hard time. I think we're so like for a long time we would joke that we're just like roommates. We're kind of like we live together, but we're like coming and going.
Because she's in law school right now, Kat. So like
I work
all the class. And
yeah,
it's incredible to
so
try
it's
to
like
find.
Really important to do that together.
That's something that Kat would say sometimes too. Like like sometimes when we feel like you're drifting or something, it's like I feel like we're just roommates. We're just kind of going in and out. And sorry, my son is like. But you want to talk a little bit about that, Kat?
I thought he was playing footsie, but no, it's just my son crying at the table. I was like, now's not the time.
Cuervo is doing so much better with him crawling around the collection room than I would be. Like I would be sweating, freaking out, but he's doing a good job of being calm and collected. I'm respecting him a lot for this.
He's usually not in here, to be honest, too much by himself. But...
Especially because he just. Oh, where did they go?
So we got some recommendations on shows to watch: Narcos and Yellowstone. And so we
I've
were
heard
saying
good
earlier.
things.
Yeah, I watched Narcos myself. Gigi was like, it's just too because she, the
I can't do the violence. I'm with you, Gigi. I can't. I'm such a like. He loves watching The Boys.
We do watch. You do watch like The Boys though. That's like an outlier. For some reason, she enjoys that, and I don't know how.
I think because like so I work for a nonprofit, and I think we see a lot of like the real like traumatic things like that. So I'm like, I already see that at work like too much. Like I need something. Like Peacemaker is like it's. I like look away when it's like really gory, but it's like
funny. So comically done, I guess that. Yeah, but you're not into the gory stuff, then, right?
No. I'm such a wimp. So anything with suspense, horror, violence. Basically, for me, movies and TV is very much about escapism, and so anything that starts to veer. Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, for example, in Game of Thrones, when we would watch together, same. I was just like, I'm not watching.
Yeah.
I have to go to the kitchen and do something. But then also I would demand that he narrate to me what's happening.
Yes,
So
yes, yes,
I was
yes,
like,
yes.
but I need to know what's happening. I can't watch. But obviously, I still need to know what's happening. So you have to tell me what's happening as I cover my eyes and just like hide in the couch. So
you know what I started doing with those, like those scenes, Kat? I would just like bring out the Switch, like the Nintendo Switch,
yeah.
or like just scroll on my phone, so I can still hear it, but I don't have to like look at it.
Oh no, I can't even hear it. I literally have to physically remove myself from space and be like, suddenly I need to pack our daughter's lunch, and so
gotta go.
She turns away and she's just like, nope, I'm not gonna watch.
And
there
then
you go.
he might like turn down the volume, and I was like, "Is it over yet?" He's like, "Oh, no!" And I'm just like, "Hey, I'm not ready to re-enter the situation."
So I think Big Dog Pound is trolling us because he recommended Invincible and a zombie show called All of Us Are Dead, which I've heard is good. But we were just talking about how Kat doesn't like violence, and those are, I'm sure, very. I know Invincible is, at least, even though it's animated. But,
No. I would just be clenched the whole time. So I would not. No.
That's it. Well, we did promise you guys an hour 30 and really appreciate you making time to come on here with, I know, the craziness of your life. And
the
it's been a really awesome
started. I think we need to go get lunch soon. But,
yeah, absolutely. So Kat, will you be able to make it to Disneyland at all when we meet up?
Yep. She's gonna go. She got day off. I got day off.
Let's go.
So,
all right. We'll do some live streaming over there.
I'm really excited.
I'll prepare some questions as well. No, joking, but yeah, really excited to meet you guys in person. It's gonna be awesome. So
I'm really excited too. I'm glad that we were able to work it out.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. Again, just like surreal to be meeting up with folks that you just met on YouTube, but you could just tell good people when you meet them. Oh, and Tukathri's giving us props for the great show. Thank you for joining.
Sorry for all the craziness here at the end.
No,
my son
not at all.
That's what it's about.
Pancake has been the most well behaved she's been in a long time, but she's always all over the place. So again, that's just it's real world. It's like part of what we're talking about is balancing life. And so,
in the chat. Did anyone else make a comment about my baby crying out?
No, not at all. They know better. They know what they're tuning into, right? Oh man.
And I think that's the type of streams that it's more like real life. Like, it's not like they're not portraying somebody that they're not, and there's just like life is crazy like that. That's kind of how it is.
That's right. Zach is an angel for always adjusting our like sound volumes, and we had a show on in a few weeks where the sound was all messed up, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's about the conversation and not about trying to make it glamorous.
Yeah, it's just about talking and getting to know each other. That's the stuff I like to do. That's why I think that's how we got into Collecting Weekly, was After Dark, where they just shoot the shit, right?
In the real
friends. Yeah.
Oh man, Big Dog Pound is saying, hope we get to 1,000 subs ASAP. Well, appreciate that. We're, Gigi keeps me grounded. When I try to look at the analytics, she's like, don't worry about it. Just again, it's all about the conversations.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess, Cuervo, with that, maybe plug if you have any unboxings coming up, your Instagram channel. What do you have going on?
I don't have anything. Oh, maybe
Chewing a cable.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, oh, no, you can't play that. So what may be coming up that's anything planned? This was the only thing that's planned for the near future. Usually, everything is so kind of very last minute. Like, oh, maybe I can extra punch out to this unboxing. Or bricks and brews, usually I can manage because it's like, okay, it's a month in advance. I know when the day is. We can figure it out.
There you go.
Because of the kids, it's hard to... That's why even I was like, oh, we never started on a YouTube channel.
Okay.
Like, no, that's just too much work.
It's hard to be consistent, right?
And you have to be consistent. You gotta want it to feel like a chore. Like, maybe way down the line, but it's not something I didn't. I just like being guest.
Well, Cuervo, you're always welcome on this channel, man. I'm always looking for a new co-host, so.
No way, I could never supplant Gigi. She's the best.
She can never be replaced, but Ben did an awesome job filling in, and I might call on you in the future too when she has life come up. So.
Oh, thanks, bud.
He said thanks, but no thanks.
Other than my Instagram, it's just the Archimedes, with a period before the DM. 03. Again, my wife says Kat says I have a branding issue.
You got a branding issue, Cuervo. No, but
But
your Instagram, you have great pictures on there. You really do.
thanks, bud. I appreciate it. And I started taking pictures during the pandemic of stuff because I wouldn't pose or anything, pose my stuff. I was like, I'm gonna spend time posing and taking pictures. That's what these things are for.
Absolutely.
So,
And Ben
yeah.
is saying that he wants to live stream with you, so we'll have to set
that'd
up
be
a
cool,
time
man.
for us all to.
Yeah, it's like I need a month lead time or weeks lead time. It's like just because of kids and family.
Mark is saying sorry he's late. Mark, thanks for joining the end of it. It was you were missed here, but understand again, life comes in the way, gets in the way.
It's too, it's that's what you probably go see that stuff with kids. And, like I join when I can. Like this week I couldn't join straight because it's too busy, tired, work, kids. So. Yeah, that's
Well, really
real life
exactly. Oh my gosh. So cute. No, we love it, honestly. So I guess we'll just give you some background on what's coming up on our channel. So we do have a few live unboxings that we've promised, but again, it's so hard to find the time with Gigi being so busy. So we've got, the Razor Crest, which we will be unboxing. We're shooting for tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're shooting for tomorrow. So either the Golden Armor Wonder Woman or the Razor Crest tomorrow. But I think we're going to do 30 minutes, get in, get out. So we'll give everyone a little heads up on that.
Oh, that Razor Crest. You're going to take time with that one.
That's right.
That's the big Mandalorian ship I showed you.
So I think the setup's going to be I'm going to unbox it, and then we're going to go a little more in depth on small talk. So I'll be on Collecting Weekly, and we'll kind of maybe, get the camera in there. We'll look at all the fine details. So we'll do a little, little tease. Yeah. So I've promised them that we'll bring it on the show. And then that Golden Armor Wonder Woman, I'm really excited to unbox that. I haven't opened a figure in a while, so I'm getting that itch. Which that itch is scary, Cuervo.
I hear it's great.
It's like Gigi's face.
Yeah, but we're really fortunate that we have, Kat. She's not as supportive as you, but she does, tolerate me, and she comes on these live streams, so I give her props for that.
You guys are hilarious. You guys are adorable, and there's no way you can find another co-host. Yeah, you can't do it. I mean, he's pretty cute, but
he's a cutie. He and Ben, he and Ben are just about as close to the eye candy as we can get to.
Yeah, Ben and I are like Gigi's here.
That's right. Oh man, but yeah, so we have those coming up.
He should have gotten the deluxe Wonder Woman.
Oh, don't even get me started.
I was trying to save a few bucks. I thought the $60
fire inside of me every time I think about it.
But once Gigi was like, you should have gotten the deluxe because for the Wonder Woman, the 84, the deluxe comes with the big wings.
Oh.
And the regular comes with the small wings.
Oh, come on. No, you didn't.
I know, right?
Come on, you want the big wings.
There hasn't been one person that said, you did the right thing. You got the non-deluxe. I blew it. But let's see. Tukathru is saying you can't replace good co-host chemistry with just anyone. I do get that, but we got some good friends here. So in a pinch, we love that we've made. Can you say that again, Cuervo? Sorry, we're losing you a little bit there. Cat thing. Yes. Oh, and Pancake's up now.
Now the panic face comes out because he got close to the books, and I think he might be away.
That's right. Well, and look at now, Pancake's up.
It's like they're in sync.
Oh, Pancake is now over. I know he's high up there.
Yeah. So oh my gosh, I forgot what the question was. We were talking about the Golden Armor Wonder Woman.
Yes.
And
then I didn't like the movie too much, but that figure looks beautiful. I can't wait to see you unbox it.
Well, yeah, we'll try to enable you a little bit. Maybe you'll get the deluxe, and then we can compare on that. We'll see. But you're waiting on me to have a good excuse.
I am kind of waiting to see what you do, man.
Like Equan says, the rule is always get deluxe. Always. Doesn't matter what it is in life, deluxe. Equan, I'm just a dummy. We've already addressed this, but it won't happen again. With the Batman and the Bat Signal, I'm going all in, getting the highest end. You've said you said you might as well get deluxe. So.
Okay. What else do you have?
Oh man. So the last thing I will tease is I'll be on Collecting Weekly kind of regularly on on their flagship. You can catch Cuervo and I on After Dark sometimes and on Pose Wars. So we got a lot of content there coming up. So yeah, really.
You have a stream later on too.
Oh yeah, gosh, thank you. I'm glad that she keeps me.
She's like your
focused.
manager, man.
Yeah,
it's like, come
she
on,
really
man.
is.
Plug
She really is.
away.
So I'm going to be on with 6 Scale Reviews, on with Dan and Dre. We got a really awesome panel to talk about the Batman. So it'll be
man. I
2
love those
p.m.
guys.
Pacific time. Yeah, they're such good guys. Really, everyone in the community is. So.
Yeah, they're all cool, and I love their poses. Their poses, man.
They're talented.
Fire, all of them.
So trying to learn here. I'm not really the one to push my figures that far, but yeah, love to see what they do, right? Try to find that balance. So
yes,
yeah,
like I do crazy stuff, and then I send it back right away.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that, Cuervo, thank you so much for coming on. Please tell Kat thank you, and again, looking forward to meeting you both in person.
It's great to be here, and she's sitting there with her son, and she says thank you for having us on. She was really glad that she was able to find that because it wouldn't have been the same without her. She brings good energy too, and get her perspective on stuff. Right. Like the things that we do together. So I'm really happy that she was able to join.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm excited to meet you guys at Disneyland.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we were excited as well. And Cuervo, we always happy to have you, but you were definitely the worst part of your couple for sure, just as I am. So
of course,
the reacher in the relationship.
We're the chocolate, you're the raisin.
Wow.
Oh no, the raisin is the absolutely worst ingredient.
Oh man. So I guess Ben, thank you for that. And I guess the last thing I'll say is we've got any live boxings coming up. Yeah, so we're targeting to do one tomorrow about the same time, 11 Pacific time. It'll either be the Golden Armor Wonder Woman or the Razor Crest. We promised that for a while now, teased it, so we'll get that out. And yeah, so we've got those 2 upcoming. I won't give any other secrets about other things I have in the mail because I got to get through those first. But yeah, maybe some other ones in the near future. But yeah, with that, again, Cuervo, Kat, thank you both so very much. And Gigi, do you want to take us out?
Bye.